Today on the Ace of Spades, we have James Arthur Ray. James is a best-selling author. He's been featured on shows like Oprah and Larry King Live. He's also been a narrator for the film The Secret. James, welcome to the Ace of Spades.
Thanks, David. It's good to be here, man. I appreciate you having me.
No problem. I wanted to lay the foundation for the interview. So, could you define your beliefs in the law of attraction?
People ask me, I don't know how much you or your listeners know about my life, but I've had a pretty grand and exciting ride, to say the least. And so, it hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns, to say the least. And therefore, a lot of people, ask me, well, do you still believe in the law of attraction? My answer is absolutely yes. Now, what I don't believe in is a couple of things with regard to the law of attraction. Number one, there are 7 laws that govern this universe, and most people don't understand what those are. And many of, if not most of those laws have subsets to the laws. And so when you're attempting to force fit the entire universe into one law, that's only 1/7 of the entire equation, and you're not going to be very successful. Secondly, what I don't believe about the law of attraction is the way that it's been romanticized. And as a contributing author to The Secret, both the book and the movie, and a so-called expert on the law of attraction, what I know is that my very best material, when the producer was filming me, no disrespect, I'm grateful for the movie, and it helped me reach a lot more people and help a lot more people, but my best material ended up on the cutting room floor because she had a particular vision of how she wanted to present it. And with all due respect, the movie The Secret is really a movie for a mass market and for people who are beginning a journey. It's much more complex than what it comes off as or how it's been interpreted by the vast majority of people who read the book or watched the movie. And so I'll throw that out there and then let you explore that more if you'd like, or we can move on to something else. But hopefully that answers your question. I believe in it. I think it's 1/7 of the equation, and it's not like it's been romanticized. It's much more complex than what most of us are aware of.
No, that's great because as far as like the information I read, I saw like a bunch of like the memes and posts on Instagram. Believe, put your goals in front of you, and it'll manifest. So you saying that there's more to it than that. That actually opens up a whole new um, can as far as like looking to and exploring to get the maximum benefits of it. And you said it's actually 7.
There's 7 laws that govern this universe, and those go all the way back to ancient Hermetics, which I've been really blessed, David, to have been exposed to a variety of teachers and teachings. I've had 6 major mentors in my life. I've had business mentors. I've had, my traditional schooling was in applied behavioral sciences, psychology. So I had psychological mentors. I've had spiritual mentors, I've had entrepreneurial mentors, I've had mystical mentors. And so I've been exposed to a lot of great teachings and teachers, as I said earlier, and I've been exposed to the mysteries or the esoteric realm of thought. And all that to say, this esoteric realm or the mystery schools talked about the laws of the universe all the way back to ancient Hermetics, if not earlier in Sumeria, and the Egyptian philosophies all are laden with those types of universal laws long before science, which I'm a big fan of science. I've studied quantum physics for nearly 2 decades. And so now science is proving what the ancients knew intuitively for multiple hundreds if not thousands of years. And so yes, there are 7 fundamental laws, and yet each, as I said earlier, David, each of those laws has a subset to them, and it's a lot more complex than what we realize.
Wow. And okay, so that leads me into my next question, because I was watching one of your earlier videos, and you said that there's 5 things that we all want: financial, relational, physical, mental, and spiritual. And I was going to ask, as far as being as far as believing in the law of attraction, would that be difficult to achieve balance with? It looks like I'm missing most of the portion here.
Well, first of all, my last New York Times bestseller was called Harmonic Wealth. And my objective with that book was to redefine what wealth really means. If you ask 99% of the people in the world to define wealth, they're most often going to say money. Well,
Right.
wealth has nothing to do with money. If you trace the etymology or the definition of the origins of the word wealth back to its beginnings, what it literally translates as is well-being. It has nothing to do with money. And so there's a lot of people who are very financially rich who aren't very wealthy because they don't have a lot of well-being. Now, it's a long answer to your question, but you use the word balance, and I get it. Uh, in my last book, Harmonic Wealth, I say that balance creates more pathology and more sickness and more problems, the concept of balance, than nearly anything else, because it's not achievable. What is achievable is harmony. And harmony, you may think that's just semantics or a play on words, but it's more than that, because if you look at a scale in perfect balance, let's just imagine this here, David, a scale in perfect balance. Tell me what's happening.
They're balancing each other out. It's even.
Yeah, in other words, nothing's happening.
Right.
Right? In perfect balance, nothing happens. And life does not work that way. Harmony, on the other hand, is dynamic. Life is dynamic. Quantum physics tells us that everything in this universe is comprised of 99.99999% energy or light. And it also tells us that energy vibrates. Now, by the way, I've got to go on record to say that the law of attraction is not really a law. It's a subset of the law of vibration. The law in this universe is a scientific law, and it's the law of vibration. Now, a subset of the law of vibration is the law of attraction, and there again, here lies a problem where most people, they come and they go, well, I tried the law of attraction, it doesn't work. Well, that's like saying I went to the gym and working out doesn't work. Well, of course it works. You just don't know how to work it, right? Or you don't know how to use it. What do you mean working out doesn't work? Of course it works. It works for everybody. And so you just don't understand it. And so consequently, harmony is what we really need to be after. And what you mentioned is what I call the 5 pillars: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual. And what I submit to you is that true wealth is harmony in all 5 of those areas: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual. You're not wealthy if you have an abundance of money and you're sick and tired all the time. I mean, current Gallup poll tells us 43% of the people surveyed are too exhausted to perform in their daily work. Well, I don't care how much money, how many millions you have. If you're exhausted all the time, that's not living. That's existing. That's dragging your tired butt through the day. And that's 43% of the people. And those are only the ones that are honest. Probably. There's probably more than that. Right. And so you're not wealthy if you, let's say, your business is booming and your personal relationships suck. And that's a technical term, but if your relationships suck, then you're not wealthy. And so true wealth is harmony in all 5 of those areas: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual. Now, let's understand the concept of harmony, because it's not balance. I'm going to submit to you that balance is bogus. No one is balanced.
Mm.
Nobody, even those people who teach balance, are not balanced. And so consequently what happens is we start to beat ourselves up because we think, oh, I'm not balanced, and so I'm not doing something right. Well, nobody's balanced. Harmony can exist, and it's not the same as balance. It's dynamic. It ebbs and flows. So here's how it works. Sometimes you're spending more energy and effort on your business than you are on your personal relationship. But here's the key: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual. That's the 5 pillars. You never, ever totally neglect any one of the pillars.
Mm.
You know, sometimes you're spending more time in your business, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, than you are in the gym. But that doesn't mean you still don't go to the gym. Sometimes you're looking at your financial situation and you sit down with your wife or your husband or your kids if you have them, and you go, look, guys, right now for the next 90 days, daddy or mommy has to crank. We got to focus on getting this financial pillar in better shape. So we're not going to be going to Disneyland, you know, in the next 90 days. We're not going to be, you know, eating a lot of dinners out. We're going to do some things. We'll still spend some time together, because remember, if you can imagine this is 5 spokes on a wheel, if you totally neglect one of the spokes, the wheel's going to collapse.
Right.
You follow me on that? And that's what happens, David. We've all heard stories of these business tycoons who are making bundles of money and then they have a heart attack. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. I do business consulting, and I met with one of the most successful guys on Wall Street a couple years ago, and he was talking to me about potentially doing some work with his company. He was really ramping up his company, and he was doing extremely well. Well, he was about 30 pounds overweight, and he wanted to meet me in a bar, which it would not be my choice, you know, but he wanted to meet me in a bar for happy hour. I could hardly talk to him because it was too loud in there, but nonetheless, he was the client. So I met him there, and I said to him, he was asking me how we would work together. I said, well, the first thing you got to do is tell me how often you work out and what workouts do you do. And I knew he wasn't eating well because, again, he was about 30 pounds overweight, and he was throwing back the alcohol. And he said to me, well, I don't have time to work out. He said, but I do walk from the train station to my office every morning. And I'm like, that's not enough. I said, and here's what I tell my clients, David: you got to schedule your workout just like you schedule a business meeting.
Mm.
It's got to have that kind of importance, because it's going to take a tremendous amount of energy for you to achieve your potential and to actualize your greatness in this lifetime. And if if you're 43% who are exhausted, you're not going to actualize your greatness, and you're not going to fulfill your purpose because you don't have enough energy to do it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
So I said to him, you got to make time to work out. Well, I just don't have time to work out. Well, fast forward, he didn't end up hiring me. We didn't work together. And God bless him, you know, fast forward 90 days later, he had a heart attack. He didn't die, but he had a heart attack. And I'm like, man, you know, how great is it to be booming on Wall Street, but your heart is given out? I mean, it's not great at all. And that's not wealth. And yet that's very, 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 very common. As you and I both know, you know, the number one killer in the world right now is heart disease.
Right.
And so anyway, hopefully, long answer to your question, and sorry for getting off on a
No,
riff there, but hopefully that's helpful.
no, it is. And I was going to ask anyway, as far as for having energy and fulfilling your purpose, how would you define purpose as far as identifying someone's purpose?
It's a really good question because you know, I've been really blessed. I've worked with individuals from 145 different countries around the world have attended my live events. And the number one question, David, bar none, number one question that I'm asked is, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What's the meaning of life, or some derivation thereof? Most people don't know what their purpose is. And let me just submit to you that what I know is that, first and foremost, you have a unique gift, you, David, that I don't have. And Howard Gardner's research from Harvard University proves that every single one of us is a genius in at least one, if not two, areas of life. And yet our traditional school systems have miserably failed us because they have not encouraged you to find what I call your unique genius. They've not encouraged you to explore your unique gifts. And so we set off on the wrong path to begin with. I work with clients one-on-one on a limited basis because it's very time consuming. I work with clients in groups, and I do, live events and all those types of things. But I have a process that I call beginning at the beginning. And beginning at the beginning, quite simply, well, it's complex, but simply here for today, is to go back in your memory to the earliest childhood memory you can find and ask yourself some really powerful questions. What have I always been naturally good at? What have I always been attracted to? Naturally. If money were no issue, what productive activity would I invest my time in every single day? And the two key words there are productive activity, because a lot of times people say to me, well, if money was no issue, I'd just go to the beach and drink margaritas. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. that's what you've been socialized into believing. But Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's research on flow proves that you'd be bored silly in a short amount of time if all you did was lay on the beach and drink margaritas. You'd be bored because you're not wired for that. And so there's other questions as well. But when you can ask yourself and answer those questions, you start to uncover what you've always been attracted to. I believe God or spirit or universal intelligence has given you a unique gift, and you have a unique purpose. And so you take this unique gift once you find it, and you probably don't know what it is. And I'm talking to your listener right now. You probably don't know what it is, and it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. It's not your fault because your school system and your parents and your society and your clergy and the media have not encouraged you to find your unique genius. What they've encouraged you to do is to follow the money. They've encouraged you to look at the market and to look at where the most jobs are going to be in the future. And so that's why Gallup tells us that 72% of the people surveyed currently, right now, David, are miserable in their daily work. 72%. That's almost 3/4 of the population. And again, I'd submit to you, those are only the ones being honest, because they've followed the money, they've followed the market, they've gone where the jobs are, and then they get there and they're like, oh my God, I've sold my soul for a paycheck or for money, and I've lost my meaning. There's no meaning here. So when you find your unique genius, then you take that and you say, okay, how am I going to develop that into mastery? And mastery is where the rubber meets the road. Now mastery is it takes everything you have. Albert Einstein said mastery takes every single thing we have. And that's why most people don't do it. And so, but you look at a Kobe Bryant, or you look at a Tiger Woods, or you look at, a Steve Jobs, or name the name, Elon Musk. I mean, they're committed to mastery and to mastering their unique gifts and to doing what they're here to do. If you don't know what your unique genius is, then you're not going to find your purpose, because your unique genius is what you're going to use to actualize your purpose in this lifetime. Do you follow me?
I do.
And so first we find our unique genius. Then let's talk about purpose for a second. Because purpose has two components. You have a spiritual purpose and you have a physical purpose.
Mhm.
And every single one of us has both, because you're a spiritual being living in a physical experience. You're a spiritual being. The essence of who you are is not this meat suit that we're running around in. That's just the car we're driving. You know, you are not your physical body any more than you are the car that you drive to the grocery store. You're the driver of the car and you're the driver of the body to an extent. I could spin off into that one for days, but I won't. But because sometimes we're so asleep at the wheel that we're not really even driving the body. But nonetheless, you know, you have a spiritual purpose, you have a physical purpose. Your spiritual purpose, David, is the same as mine, and that's to wake up. And every single one of your listeners, your spiritual purpose is to wake up, is to remember who you really are. And you're not your house, your car, your body, your business, your bank account. You're so much more than that. You are so much more than that. And you have God given potential to have dominion in this physical world. But unless and until you have dominion in your inner world, you'll never actualize it in the physical world. If you can't control what you put in your mouth, then how do you think you're going to control universal energies and be able to channel those into a creative direction? Well, the fact is you won't. If you can't control, you know, getting up when the alarm goes off without hitting the snooze button 6 times, then how are you going to control a multi-million, if not billion-dollar industry? And I'm not saying that it's all about the money. It's not. I'm using that as a metaphor. And so you are so much more than your current state of affairs. You're so much more than your current state of results. Your current state of affairs and your current state of results are nothing more than a residual outcome of who you used to be, the thoughts, feelings, actions of the past. And so our spiritual purpose is to wake up now and to remember the things we've forgotten to remember, and likewise forget the things we've forgotten to forget, to remember who we really are. Our physical purpose, and that's the same for all of us, that spiritual purpose. Now our physical purpose differs because your physical purpose has to do with your unique genius. Now, I have gifts that I've been given, and I mean gifts in a literal sense. I came in with them, and so did you, David. And so it doesn't mean that we just are naturally masterful. We're not. We have to work our tail feathers off to become masterful. But when you have a much greater opportunity and propensity to become masterful when you're using your unique gifts than if you're just chasing the marketplace, if that makes sense. And so your physical purpose is how you're going to use your unique gifts to contribute. And purpose is always about contribution. It's not about acquisition. You know, we've got to change the conversation, because most of the conversation that we see in today's world on social media or elsewhere is about get this car, get this watch, get this suit, get this plane, you know, get this money, you know, get. Well, that's not how the world works. And guess what? That's not why you're here. Your purpose is to give. And it's to give service and value to the world in your unique way. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of life. Life is a gift, man. And guess what? It's going to be over before we're ready. I don't care how long you live. I'm shooting for 125. We'll see if I make it. Science tells us that we have the opportunity to do that now if we do everything correctly, and I'm doing my best. Um, and yet we'll see if we make it. But even to go to 125, it happens in a heartbeat. And we all know this. My wife and I were just talking about this the last week. Before we know it, because we're going on a week long getaway over the holidays, and before you know it, we'll be back, and we'll be back after it, and before we know it, it'll be 2021 New Year's, and but here we are, man, and I'm sorry to date your interview,
Right.
but plug in any date. I mean, how ago was it we were setting New Year's resolutions for this year, 2019, or plug in any day? It was a heartbeat ago, and that's how quickly it all goes. So life is a gift, and service is the rent we pay. So just to wrap it all up in a nice little ribbon, if I may, your spiritual purpose is to wake up. So is mine. And that happens by degree over time. It doesn't happen by some lightning bolt hitting you with, oh my God, now I'm enlightened. It happens by degree, to wake up more and more and more. And your physical purpose then is how I'm going to use my unique gifts developed into a masterful way to contribute and give back and provide value to the world.
And I'm going to ask, so if I've identified my purpose and I have good habits, is there a way to tie that into performance so that I can more so like better say achieve more money? Was there a way to tie that into performance if I have those two pretty well grounded?
Yes, there is. Let me give you and your listeners a secret to making money. And I've been blessed. I've made multiple millions of dollars in my career. And so here's the secret to making money. You ready?
Ready?
Forget about money. That's it. Forget about money. I go back to question number 3 that I proposed on beginning at the beginning. If money were no issue, what productive activity would I invest my days doing? If you look at now, most of your listeners, with all due respect, most of your listeners aren't going to get this. I'm gonna tell you straight up from a guy who's made multiple millions, and you're still not going to hear it. All right, but one person might hear it. And so I'm speaking to that one person right now. Forget about money, because if you look at an Elon Musk, let's use Elon Musk. He's worth, I don't know how many billions of dollars right now. Billions. Okay. Let's look at him first. Now, he made $180 million for his profit from selling PayPal. 180 million. Now that's pretty good. You can't eat on it, but it's okay, right? It's a good start, right, Dave? So
it's something.
Yeah, and it's a good start. So what did he do? He turned right around and he put all 180 million into SpaceX, Tesla, and Solar City. He literally, and you can look this up on the internet, he tells a story. He literally had to borrow money to pay his rent after making $180 million. Now, what would most people do? They make 180 million. Oh, it's margarita time, right? I'm going to buy me a Bentley. Let me get a Bentley. Watch the. There's a documentary on Bill Gates on Netflix, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but I love great documentaries, and this is a great documentary. Bill Gates. It's called Inside Bill Gates, I think it is. It's 3 or 4 parts. Bill Gates is one of the richest men in the world, And he wears Dockers, for God's sakes. Dockers are about as cool as a stick in the eye. I mean, I Dockers are like, I mean, seriously, Dockers, he doesn't. You look at his watch, it looks like a Timex. I mean, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs was a billionaire, and he didn't even have furniture in his house. And they said, Steve, come on, man. I mean, why do you got any furniture? He goes, why? Why? I'm never there. I'm always at Apple. Why do I need furniture? And so Elon Musk sleeps on the floor at Tesla. This is well documented. Sleeps not every night, but many nights. He sleeps on the floor in his office. These guys don't care about money. Jeff Bezos now, and it vacillates all the time, but last time I checked, he's the richest guy in the world right now, right? And he was very successful on Wall Street. He quit a very successful Wall Street job right before he was going to get a huge annual bonus. Like right before, let's say he's going to get it in December, and he quit in November. And they said to him, Bezos, what are you doing, man? You're getting your bonus next month. And you know what he said? He said, large bonuses are not what you think about when you're on your deathbed.
Wow.
And so I could go on, but the fact is, Steve Jobs said, find something you love. Success is hard. Find something you love, because if you don't love it, you'll quit, like any sane person would. I love that part. You'll quit like any sane person would. He said, but if you love it, you won't quit. None of these guys, Warren Buffett, still lives in the little beat ass house that he that he bought for like 40 grand, I think, when he couldn't even, couldn't even buy anything else. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care. So back to the principle. Forget about money. Focus on finding something, finding your unique genius, giving it everything you have to become masterful, and providing value to the world. The more value you give to the world, the more money you will make. That's how it works. That's called the law of compensation, which, by the way, is one of the 7 laws in this universe. Law of compensation says, it will come back to you in direct proportions to the amount you give out. So, again, long answer to your question. I'm not known very well for my brevity sometimes, but long answer to your question, and hopefully that's helpful.
No, it is.
Because can you increase your money? Absolutely. But forget about the money. That's not the right objective. A real quick story. I was speaking at a network marketing event, huge company. You would know the name if I told you. And I was speaking at their annual event, and I was backstage, and there was this young new distributor, maybe 23 years old. And I backstage, and he got some backstage pass to meet the speakers and the faculty and all this. He was so stoked to be back there. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And I just got into this company. And I said, well, congratulations. I said, why is it that you got involved with this company? He said, because I've heard that you can make a lot of money here. And I didn't say it to him because it wasn't the right time and place. But I thought inside, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make a lot of money because your focus is in the wrong place. You've got to focus on how can I serve? How can I provide value? And if you're not getting paid as much as you would like right now, then that's the universe telling you you're not providing enough value. You provide more value, you'll get remunerated in direct proportion to how much value you provide. Helpful?
Oh, absolutely. So let me ask you this. So if I forget about the money, and let's say you're the owner or CEO of the company, you forget about the money, you focus on the value. Does that have a direct influence as far as on your leadership and being able to have your staff or faculty look up to you or follow your directions?
Yeah, well, leadership, obviously my new book is coming out in February. It's called The Business of Redemption. And the subtitle is The Price of Leadership. And so leadership is a very complex topic, which we can't, even begin to scratch the surface of here today. And yet, let me just make this really, really clear. I'm a businessman. I'm not some cosmic foo-foo. That's a technical term. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. You have to look at, you don't totally ignore the P&L and the balance sheet and all those things. You have to pay attention to those, but you don't live your life by those. What you live your life by and drive your company by is providing great value to the world. And we're in a marketplace right now where we're racing to the bottom of the barrel. We're we're in this vast race to mediocre. And the reason I say that is because, social media has its upsides and it's got benefits, but like anything else, it's got its dark sides too. And everybody is looking to get attention. Well, the easiest way to get attention is to put out crap that is shocking or stupid or controversial and just get attention. But that's the race to the bottom. What we have, and it's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up on us. Mark my words. What we have to focus on again is mastery and providing tremendous value. And that will always rise to the top long term. Now, it may take longer, and it often does, but it will be sustainable as long as you continue to chase, great value with your company. Now, if you have team members, there's mounds of research that proves that money doesn't motivate. In fact, what mounds of research proves is that once your salary hits about $70,000 to $75,000 a year, no amount of money, additional money, is going to make you any more happy or any more fulfilled. And in many cases, if not most cases, it's going to make you more miserable. Because what you end up doing is something stupid like saying, I need a plane. You don't need a plane. Okay, I'm sorry. I need a Bentley. You don't need a Bentley. I'm sorry. Let me just shoot, if you got some young listeners here today, listen to the voice of experience, okay? A Bentley is the very same damn car as a 750 BMW. It's the same car. Same chassis, same car. Yeah, some of the whistles and bells are a little different. You can get a 740 for about a third of what you get a Bentley. Maybe if it's totally stoked out loaded, maybe almost half of a Bentley, but still yet, it's a BMW. BMW is a nice car. You don't need a Bentley and you don't need a plane, please. Okay? I mean, please. No one needs a plane. And so, unless, yeah, anyway. So what happens is you start you make a lot more money. And again, I've made millions and millions of dollars per year. I'm talking from experience here. And your expenses almost always rise to meet the income. And so consequently, now you get chained to this quote lifestyle. Oh, I want to be a lifestyle entrepreneur. Well, I don't know what the hell that means, but I just want to live life. Again, look at Steve Jobs, blue jeans and a black turtleneck. That's all you ever saw him in. Bill Gates is wearing Dockers. You can pick up a pair of Dockers for like $40. I mean, maybe $50. Warren Buffett is not wearing Brioni. Okay, I mean, come on. I like nice things. I do. I like nice things. I've had a lot of nice things, and what I'm talking about here is principles. And the fact research proves that about 70K, 75K a year, all your needs are met. Your wants aren't met because wants never stop.
Right.
Right? But your needs are met, and more money doesn't bring happiness or fulfillment. And in many cases, it brings more misery, because the only people who are more worried about money than the poor are the rich. And look, I coach people who make a lot of money, and most of them are not very happy people, because the more you have to lose. Right? When you've got nothing to lose, you're free. You're free. Now, David, I don't know. Some of your listeners might be hanging up on us right now because this isn't popular, but it's true nonetheless. It's a truth. Again, I don't know how much you know about my story, but I had a 7,500 square foot estate on Mulholland Drive in Beverly Hills. And I'm grateful to have had that experience. But let me tell you something, man. That house was a money pit. The mortgage was $25,000 a month, which is crazy. The yard guy made more money than most administrative positions make. And the taxes were atrocious. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. When I look at these people on social media showing off their house and their plane, I feel sorry for them, because I know what goes on behind the scenes on that. What we've got to do is change the conversation. And if you have team members, they're going to be much more happy, much more fulfilled, particularly if they're a millennial. Millennials want to feel like, and which you might be, I don't know, but millennials want to feel like they're making an impact and making a difference in the world. And yeah, they want to make a lot of money, and they get seduced into the collective story. But at the end of the day, if you can help your team members understand, going back to purpose, what we're contributing to people's lives, then they get up every morning and they're much more excited, and how they are part of that, then they're much more motivated and inspired because they see the difference they're making in the world. Hopefully that's helpful.
It is. And I feel like this will be a great time to segue in and ask you, so we can have it on the record, what is your definition of success?
It's a great question. My definition of success is that you are successful the minute you take the first step in the direction of an intention of your own choosing. Now we gotta unpack this a little bit. We gotta unpack it and get a little bit more granular, because most people that I coach want to tell me what they want in their life, but they don't even know who they are. Well, how can you tell me what you want if you don't even know who you are? The fact is, you can't. Let's go back to Bentley and BMW. You put a Bentley and a BMW in front of 99% of the people, and you go, okay, here, which one of these do you want? 99% of the people are going to take the Bentley. Why? Because they've been they're a product of what I call socialized mind. Socialized mind tells you a Bentley is a better car. The fact is, it's the same car. It's almost identical car. All right. But socialized mind tells you, I got to have the Bentley. So point being, you don't know what you want. You think you want certain things, but you don't really know what you want, because what you want is what you've been programmed to believe you want. What you want is what you've been programmed, that this thing is valuable. What you want is not your original idea. It's been handed to you at a very early age and programmed and conditioned into you. And you know, most people want to talk about, oh, I'm a free thinker. You're not a free thinker. If you're a free thinker, then stop your thoughts right now. And if you can't stop your thoughts, then you're not a free thinker. And the question I would have for you is, if you can't control your thoughts, then are you thinking or are you being thought? Who is the thinker? If you can't control your thoughts, who's thinking? It's not you. It's not you. And so, you know, I mean, this is something that I'm very passionate about. And we don't have time to get into it in great depth and detail here. Maybe another day. But outer diversity is a great thing. You know, I built my business career at AT&T School of Business. And that was when diversity training was really big. And I was in charge of diversity training. And all these, you know, people of different color and different race and different creed and different culture would come in the room. And here's this white guy training diversity training. They'd be like, what the hell is this? Well, the fact is that the color of our skin is not diversity. Our true diversity is inside our skin. It's our values, beliefs, assumptions, perceptions, our programming, our expectations, you know, our enculturation, our experiences. All those things are what make us diverse inside. And so the fact is that the vast majority of people have multiple personality disorder because they're at war inside. You know, oh, I want this Bentley. No, I want this plane. No, I want to grow my business. So I want to make this money. No, I want to get in shape and lose weight. Oh, but daddy says this and mama says that. And the media says this. And so on social media says I should do this. And oh, I got to download this swipe file. I mean, pay attention to what's going on inside of you every single day, and you'll recognize you're at war. Because you have multiple personalities inside of you, literally warring for your attention. And you know, the most recent research tells us that we have about 6 seconds of attention. 6 seconds, about the same as the goldfish in my tank downstairs. You know, we have the attention span of a goldfish, and I mean that's literal. I'm not using a metaphor. We have about 6 seconds of attention, and the people who designed, you know, social media studied addiction. Right? Scroll. And now, you know, all my marketing advisors tell me, James, you got to make videos that are at least no more than a minute and a half because people won't watch them. A minute and a half. A minute and a half. I mean, seriously. Oh, no, it's been 60 seconds. I got to go. You know, I mean, we've got this war going on inside of us, and our objective, David, is to come to inner unity. External diversity, you know, your values, beliefs, assumptions, expectations, experiences are different than mine. And mine are different than yours. And as we come together, not because the color of our skin is different, but we come together with our experiences and we can bounce those off of each other, then that's external diversity. And that's a good thing. Because you bring things to the table that I don't have any reference for, and I bring things to the table that you don't have any reference for. So external diversity to a degree is really beautiful and powerful. Internal diversity is chaos.
Wow.
Because it's a lack of focus. And so what we have to do through self-awareness is bring ourselves into inner unity. And we bring ourselves into inner unity, then we really we come full circle. We start to know who we are. We become truly self-aware. We really know why we're here. And we don't care about the applause. We don't care about the trolls. It doesn't matter. I got plenty of trolls. God bless them. They love me so much that they got nothing better to do than to hate on me. I'm so important to them that they're going to take time out of their day to try to make me miserable. Think about that.
Yeah.
God bless the trolls, man. I am such a big part of their life.
Get to follow someone around online all day.
Right? I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, I'm so important. You're going to come onto my feed and say ugly things. I'm not coming. I got better things to do than to come on your feed and say ugly things. I got other things going on in life. You must not have anything going on, except for me. I'm the center of your world. So God, thank you so much for loving me so much. And so we don't care about the trolls. We don't care about the likes. We don't care about applause. We know who we are. We're in a state of inner unity, and we go about our business, and we go about our work, and we go about contributing in a unique way we can contribute.
Awesome. When you said that, I thought about what you said earlier as far as having harmony. That's what came to mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Really good point.
Well, so let's switch gears here a little bit. If I wanted to have an impact and be a successful life coach, as far as, I know you said you do consulting, what are some steps I can take?
Well, I think the first step you have to do is, again, all these things that we've talked about. You can't really be a great coach until you become a great human being, because coaching is a big thing right now. But the fact is, with all love and respect, most people who call themselves coaches went to a 3 or 5 day certification and got a little certificate, and someone gave them their blessing. You are now a coach, and that they don't have a whole lot of life experience. And you're laughing because you know someone that I'm talking about right now. I'm sure you do. That's why you're laughing. Oh, I'm a coach. Really? What have you done in your life? Well, nothing yet, but I'm going to rock it. I'm going to rock the world. You just watch me. Okay. Well, maybe you should go rock the world first, and then come back and teach people how to do what you've done. And so that's the important thing. And at the end of the day, I've talked to one of my coaches. I train coaches through my Prometheus Academy, and I'll tell you, when you come into my Prometheus Academy, it's a 3-year program, and there's no guarantee you're going to get certified, and there's no guarantee you're going to graduate. And most people don't like that. 90% of people don't like that. Well, okay, go to college and tell them, I want to get my master's degree in 3 days, and I want to guarantee that I'm going to get it before I pay you the money. Well, that's not going to happen. So why is it going to happen in a coaching training? Why does it happen? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's profitable for some people to do that, but it's not powerful. And so to become a life coach, the great thing you can do is to become so self-aware, to come to that inner unity, to go out and contribute something great to the world, and then, come back and teach people how to do what you've done. And that's, I spent years and years at AT&T through a variety of jobs, and I ended up at AT&T School of Business as a C-suite consultant, working with CEOs and executives on things like leadership and team performance and communication and culture change initiatives and diversity, which I mentioned earlier, all these different things. And so I've got that as a foundation and a long history. I have 13 years at AT&T, and that's a long time. Most people want to do it in 3 days. Well, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Dr. Anders Ericsson is the world-renowned expert on what it takes from Florida University to develop mastery. And you've probably heard about this. He said it takes a minimum of 10,000 hours. Well, if you break down 10,000 hours, that is about 3 hours a day, every single day for 10 years in what Anders Ericsson calls deliberate practice. Not just any practice, but deliberate practice. You know, Kobe Bryant, when he was going to the Olympics with the Dream Team, got up every single morning and he had a whole workout regimen. But one thing he did every single morning is he shot 800 jump shots every single day. Every single day. And he was already Kobe Bryant, for God's sake. You see, practice isn't something you do just to become great. Practice is what you do when you're already great to become greater. And so this deliberate practice, Kobe, boom, swish. All right. I know exactly how that felt and exactly how I jumped. Here I go again. Boom, rim shot. Damn, that wasn't quite right. Let me analyze that. That's deliberate practice, is to constantly get feedback, that feedback loop, and to make improvements. 3 hours a day, every single day for 10 years gives you 10,000 hours. Now, you know, particularly younger generations now go, holy crap, 10,000 hours, 10 years. Are you kidding me? All right, well, what else are you going to do with the next 10 years? You're going to do something with the next 10 years.
Right.
You know, I mean, I had a young guy working on my team, and he goes, okay, I'll give it a year. And I'm like, oh, you're off my team. If you're going to give it a year, you know, no, you don't give it a year. You go until what? Until you get what you want. You go. And so that's how you become a coach, is step back. And I can't, you know, again, it's not popular. You know, forgive me if I'm pushing your buttons as a listener, but I'm always going to shoot you straight. I'm not going to blow sunshine, you know, at you like so many people will. Oh, here's 3 easy steps and download this swipe file, because it doesn't work. And if you don't want to listen to me now, then keep downloading swipe files and going to 3-day certifications. And when it blows up on you and you run it and it runs its course, then come back and find me and I'll still be around. And now we'll roll up our sleeves and get busy. But I'm always going to shoot you straight, even if it's not popular. It's going to take you a minimum of 10 years. I spent 13 years at AT&T School of Business. You know, I built an Inc. 500 company, one of the fastest growing, most successful privately held businesses in the nation, if not the world. And it took me the better part of 20 years to do that. 20 years.
Wow.
And again, what else are you going to do with the next 10 years, 20 years? You're going to do something. You might as well do something great.
Could you tell us about your book?
Yeah. The Business of Redemption, the price of leadership in both life and business. It's like nothing else I've ever written. You know, I was a co-author to The Secret. My last book, Harmonic Wealth, was a New York Times bestseller, and hopefully this one will do just as well. But it's very different than anything I've ever written because it has a storyline, and it really talks about the journey that I went through over the last 10 years of coming from nothing, literally nothing, very, very, very humble beginnings, very introverted child, and who was bullied in school and picked on and made fun of. And I rose to the top of my industry. And I've mentioned some of that here today and some of the things that I was blessed to have accomplished. And then I lost everything. I lost everything, all of it, gone. And so it tells this whole story of the rise and the fall. And then for the last 10 years now, I've been rebuilding and coming back. But I will tell you this, David, in 2013, which is almost 7 years ago now, because we're almost in 2020, 6 and some change years ago, I was homeless, literally homeless. I was in horrible physical condition, and I was $20 million in debt. 20 million. Now, if you're broke as a listener here today, my heart goes out to you. But let me tell you something, in all sincerity, 20 million, when I was $20 million in debt, broke looked good, because broke was $20 million above my head to be broke. I was so far under, and I was homeless, and I didn't know which way to turn. And so now you can tell, I'm not homeless. I've got, a beautiful, modest home. It's not, this estate in Beverly Hills, but I don't need that anymore. I've had all that, and I've completely retired that debt. I just married the most amazing woman in the world, who I didn't know in 2013. I didn't even know of her or anything about her. And so you can turn your life around. You literally can. And everything that we've talked about here today is a part of that. And so the business of redemption, and the word redemption is a very important word. It's defined as to gain or regain something by paying the price. You see, most people, and we've talked about this today too, David, most people want to gain something or regain something, but they're not willing to pay the price. And there's always a price for the prize. And the bigger the prize you're going after, the bigger the price that there is to pay. And you always have to pay the price in advance. There's only one place in this universe that I can find where you get the reward before you pay the price, and that's in a restaurant. You get the meal and then you pay the bill after. But everywhere else, you pay the bill in advance.
Right.
And so, for that guy who told me I'll give it a year, he wasn't willing to pay the price. And so many people aren't. Well, I've been at this for 18 months now and I'm not making an impact. 18 months is nothing. Okay, it's nothing. Come on. It's got to be a minimum of 10 years. And if you won't invest that, then you're not really committed to greatness. And you're going to do something for the next 10 years. You're either going to be, a dabbler, jumping from this to this to this to this to this to this to this, or you're going to be a doer and an achiever, and you're going to hunker down and going to choose your path, and you're going to walk that path come hell or high water, and you're going to get there. And so this whole book talks about my journey and how I went from $20 million in debt and homeless to being where I am today and still moving forward today. And so I'm hopeful that it's going to really be beneficial and helpful to a whole lot of people.
Awesome. And really quick, before you go, could you tell the viewers how to get in contact with you?
Yeah, the very best. I'm all over social media. I'm James Arthur Ray on Instagram. I'm at James A. Ray on Twitter. I'm the official James Arthur Ray on Facebook. And then, my home base is my website, just jamesray.com. And if you go and visit there, we offer you a free introductory coaching session there, which you can grab. And we have a whole host of, our upcoming live events, which we're doing in 2020, which we're doing one in February, end of February, which is perfectly timed to make 2020 your best year ever. And there's a whole lot of resources and products and everything else on jamesray.com. Some free, some you can invest in. So check it out.
Absolutely. Well, James, I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us. And we definitely look forward to watching your future endeavors. And please, all the viewers, I'm asking you, definitely follow him on Instagram. I do, and I absolutely love his posts. Thank you for your time, James.
Hey, thank you, David. God bless you. Keep doing great work, my friend.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.